Coming up this week on the Digital Lifestyle Show 831, Garry and I have a special guest joining us. Brandon Blanc from the Windows Insider team at Microsoft going to be joining us on the show, and we're going to be talking all things Windows Insider and Windows 11 and Microsoft with Brandon. We're going to be talking about the Windows Insider program at Microsoft, how it's evolved from its original origins, what Microsoft do with the feedback that you send back, how you can get involved, build release process, and lots more. So it's going to be a really good chat. So let's get straight to Garry and Brandon. Yeah, so we've got a very brilliant guest joining us today, directly from the Windows Insider team, Brandon LeBlanc from the Insider team, long-term member of the Insider team. We've known him for many years, and we're going to be hearing directly from the horse's mouth about the Insider program, some of the things that they do, what they do with feedback, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. It's going to be a really interesting chat with Brandon. So, let's get over to Brandon. So, Brandon LeBlanc, welcome to the show.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
And it's fantastic to get you on. We have talked and I think we've known of each other for many years. And, from the Windows Insider program. And I'm really pleased that we could get you to join us today. I know you've got a very busy schedule, so it's really good for you to join us on the show this week.
Yeah, I'm glad that we were able to make it happen. Like I mentioned, like we go back way back in, and it's I'm surprised we haven't done this already like before. So it's been far too long. So I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, and I do like the Star Trek background, which I know is a regular thing on the Windows Insider webcast that you do.
Oh yeah, I love everything Star Trek. So I try to, with my team's backgrounds, I try to keep it nerdy for all my team's calls. So you guys will have to enjoy the Bridge of the Enterprise along with Murph.
Yeah, fantastic. I've got my Doctor Who poster up at the back here, but I'm not in the TARDIS tonight. We did do a few recordings with that, but I've left that down the end of the garden for now. Well, so yeah, as I said, fantastic to get you on the show. We should start with a little bit of background. I want to talk about the Insider program, and we've got some questions that were submitted by listeners and readers, but we should start on a little bit about you then, and what your role is at Microsoft.
Yeah, so I am a senior program manager on the Windows Insider program team here at Microsoft. And my role is really focused a lot on working with feature teams on the things that they're putting in the builds that we want Windows Insiders to be aware of and give feedback on. So a lot of the new feature work, I get to help write the comms, the messaging that are in our flight blog posts that we do for each of the builds. That's sort of my responsibility. And I love it. It's one of the, it's a dream job of mine to be working with the feature teams who are building the features in Windows and then doing, helping them with the messaging that communicates their feature to get insiders giving feedback. So it's really, really fun.
Yeah, and I suppose we should start really, just in case people don't know, actually, what is the Windows Insider program?
Yeah, so the Windows Insider program is a community program where people can register and join their PCs to one of 3 channels to get preview bits or preview builds of Windows. From there, they can try out these builds and give us feedback or give feedback to Microsoft that help us make Windows better for all our customers. And so that's kind of the gist of what the program is. It's sort of like a beta program, but we, the differing factor in how we do things, it's like very much community based as well. So yeah, that's kind of what the Windows Insider program is in a nutshell.
And so when did you actually join the Insider team?
So I joined the Insider team, I want to say either late 2014 or early 2015. I can't remember exactly, but back in the day when it was when Gabe All was the lead, he ended up putting together a team, our team that we have now, and he recruited me from. I was previously the editor-in-chief of the Windows blog, and he kind of recruited me and says, "Hey, you want to come over here and focus a lot on the Windows Insider stuff?" And I said, of course, I said, yes. I'm a huge Windows fanboy. I mean, I love all of the Microsoft stuff, but For me, it was an opportunity to kind of really focus on Windows and to be kind of positioned in the thick of the development of the product. And I also, if I weren't working at Microsoft, I would definitely be a Windows Insider in the dev channel. And so I could put myself in the shoes of people there. And so it all around made sense. So yeah.
And of course, you started out, like you said, as an enthusiast for Windows. I think it was I know we was talking back in the Vista days prior to you joining Microsoft, I think.
Oh yeah, but like 2000 what 4, 5, 6. I mean, I was an MVP for 2000, I think 7 and 8 for Windows Live back in the day.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I was an enthusiast. I was a Windows Insider long before we even had Windows Insiders. As many Windows Insiders we have today were in the same boat as well, including yourself. And so like it was just it was really exciting to be asked to join and be part of a team and this program, knowing that I'm essentially the type of person we're going after we want in the program and giving us feedback. So
yeah, I think
I do remember when Gabe announced it. That was fantastic. Sorry, I do remember when Gabe announced that Brandon was joining the team. I just thought that's such a fantastic choice.
I was excited. I was nervous, but it felt like it was the right choice. I get to nerd out. Like I get to. It's just been a blast. And even now with Windows 11, it's been like incredible to see the excitement around Windows 11 and like insiders just diving in and giving us feedback and telling us what they think and running our builds. And so it's just all around exciting. So yeah.
And I think that's where it's a great role. In fact, you're bridging those. You've been the community, you've been inside the community, you've been inside Microsoft, and this role kind of bridges the two and brings us the insiders, enthusiasts together with Microsoft, and then the Windows devs themselves.
Yeah, I try to bring that perspective. Like I try really hard to encourage feature teams when we're talking about feedback and talking about their feature. I really encourage them to put to understand the fan. Like, why would a fan care about this UI change? Why would a fan care about something being like a pixel being misaligned by one pick, one px? Right. I try to encourage a lot of that internally, and I bring a lot to that table from being one myself. And so that empathetic, being empathetic to like the thinking behind some of the feedback we're getting, I really push that hard. It's something I'm really proud of. And I know insiders don't see it a lot, but like we're champions of the community internally as well. Myself, Jason, Amanda, we're constantly like relaying what we hear from the community internally in conversations and meetings. And so that's also really, really important and also adds to the funness of the job.
So the role of the insider team. So where does that fit within the rest of the Windows development team?
Well, we're kind of alongside the Windows development team. Our job is really to help facilitate getting code pushed out to insiders so that when teams are ready, they can start getting feedback on the features, and so that they can make those features better based off of the input from our insiders. And so that's kind of like we facilitate that process. And so every week we're flighting new builds and, making sure that whatever features are in there, we're documenting in our flight posts and encouraging feedback from the community, because that's truly how, like just our fans are helping us make Windows better. And that's kind of like how our team is situated. But we are definitely in the thick of the engineering group. So like we are, deep in the feature development processes across the board. And so, I was just talking to a feature team about something that they're planning to deliver to insiders in a build in a couple weeks. there's a long lead time there for us. But we're definitely in that process, and teams are planning, and we're, working with them on how we're going to communicate those things and what are the gotchas, are there known issues, those types of stuff. And like my special skill set is, on the communication side. Like I help them make sure that they're communicating their feature in the best possible way that could get people excited and then getting the feedback going. And so, we're right in the thick of everything. And that's what makes it really exciting.
Yeah, and I suppose you've got there's two sides to the equation. There's the stuff, the blog posts that you do for insiders, and you get the feedback. But I suppose you've also got to educate the developers and the development teams to understand the process that how you talk to the community, and then get those that feedback back to them. So it's a bit of education on both sides.
It is. It absolutely is. Definitely helping educate on how to communicate their features. But like every feature teams are different across, like there's different, there's different ways to communicate various features. So it's not like a rinse and repeat. It's not always the same. Like how we communicate about feature A may be different than how we communicate about feature B. And my job is to just make sure that we are just communicating the best possible way about those features. I help bring to the table lessons learned over the last 7 years of the program, as well as, here are the things that I'm hearing from the community, and, that helps inform how we talk about these things.
So how would you see then that the Windows Insider program has evolved from when you first joined it to where we are now, Windows 11?
Oh, gosh. I mean, back then it was like we were releasing one build to, at the time it was a ring. We were releasing one build to a ring like every couple weeks. And now we're releasing builds weekly in 3 different channels sometimes, right? And so, the scale of the program has definitely gotten larger, and we're able to have insiders running different versions of Windows releases and getting feedback on those releases. And I think that's been like immensely powerful. So like the scaling out, I think, is the biggest change. In addition to the fact that we, shifted from rings to channels, and moving fairly quickly to get code out to insiders. I mean, weekly is pretty awesome. Like the builds that we release to the dev channel are sometimes less than 3 days old. Whereas, back in the early days, sometimes those builds were like weeks old. And so I think that's the biggest change, the most exciting change. And, a lot of hard work from a lot of people went into making sure that we evolved the program into where we're at now.
So how do you actually do that and sort of assess when a build's ready to go into these channels?
Yeah, I mean, so it's like a step-by-step process to get a build out. We do a certain degree of validation of the build for like a few days before it goes into the dev channel. But the dev channel is really what it is, where, how we positioned it, right? Where it's super early builds that don't go through a rigorous validation process. So there's going to be bugs that are hidden that we don't know about, right? We try to document all of the known issues we are aware of when we flight, but there's a lot we don't know that insiders will help us catch when those builds go out. But like there's definitely a validation process of those builds in order to catch the most high impact issues. So like if we release a build to our internal insider ring or channel, we make sure we monitor for any blocking issues that could arise that would impact a lot of insiders. So like if a build is released internally and there's updating issues causing a lot of people to be unable to update to that build, we won't flight that build, right? Because not only will it block insiders from getting the build, there's no point because we won't even get feedback, right? And so so we try to monitor for those types of things, but really it's a pretty quick process. We do a couple of days of internal validation, and then we kick it out, to the dev channel. And so it's exciting, but there's just a lot of work to get those builds out. But like we've got the process kind of ironed out now. It's kind of a well-oiled machine.
And I suppose you get that moment as well when you've pushed the metaphorical button to release the builds, and then do you then like suddenly do you go on Twitter, or would you go back to the feedback, or to see the feedback coming in to see if you've got one of those blocking issues? You think, oh no, it's a big one.
Well, so we do that internally. We just monitor the feedback from Feedback Hub, as well as several other mechanisms that we have internally for getting feedback from our internal folks. When we push live to insiders, we definitely monitor. We monitor the release, and we do that for a variety of reasons. We will all join a Teams call, when we're going live with a build, and like 10 a.m. on a Wednesday will hit, and we will watch the numbers come in of the downloads initiated from the insider community of that build. So number one is we make sure the builds is actually updates are flowing out to the community. That's number one. Number two is we actually look for confirmation from our insiders on Twitter to help confirm that they're actually getting the build. That's number two. Yeah. And then number three is once we get a certain level of confirmation between the data from our engineering systems and also confirmation on Twitter, then we hit publish on the blog post, and we're live. We try to make sure that we're validating that we're live before we publish our blog post, because again, I've been here since day one of the program. I've gone through learning my lesson about hitting publish on a blog post without confirming the bits are live. And then everyone's like, well, where's the build? Where's the build? Where's the build? And so we've learned quite a bit early on about how to go about releasing those things and validating and making sure that when we say it's live, it's live. Now, after that happens and we still start getting people saying, hey, I'm having an issue, we, of course, will get the feedback from the Feedback Hub, reports from Twitter, and we'll use all of that data to investigate those issues. And then we just hit the road running, so.
It's been, I could say it's been a fair while since I've had any of those really bad sort of blocking issues. And, everybody knows the risk when you go on the dev channel. So, but I guess it's a balance, like you said, it's a balancing act, because you don't want to go too risky and then potentially hit the same issue over and over again and get inundated with the same feedback. You really need the more nuanced feedback, I suppose, don't you, of things that are minor issues rather than one big installing blocking issue or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, if we hit a really nasty issue, I mean, we have the ability to pull a flight. We have the ability to, we have a variety of different ways if something goes out. But that's why we are very careful about how we position the dev channel, is that it will have bugs. There will be issues, right? And you're getting the fresh code that has gone through very limited validation on our part. And so there will be bugs that will be found that we didn't find in our testing internally. And that's by design. And so that's why when people ask, should I join the dev channel? We try to reiterate, hey, you're going to have to be comfortable with some issues. Sometimes those issues may require you having to reset your PC or reinstall Windows. Now, that being said, we try very, very, very hard to make sure we don't flight issues that will do that, even to the dev channel. And so if we discover an issue internally that is pretty bad, we won't flight that build.
Yeah.
So.
And it's amazing, actually, like you said, that consistency of builds that you've been putting out. We're getting one nearly every sort of Wednesday evening or Thursday evening, I know, to check, and then I get my Surface Go ready to go, because that's my designated device, and I can get the video done, because you've got such a good routine with it now.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pattern, and I enjoy our pattern. It works, and I like the excitement from our community. Like they anticipate our patterns. And, that being said, we get a lot of feedback about why we don't pre-announce builds. Like we used to do teasers, right? About like, hey, this build number is hidden in some image or whatever. The problem with that we were hitting was that as we moved quicker to release the freshest bits to insiders, we were finding that sometimes we had to adjust and change our flighting plans. So we might do a teaser about a build number, but then we'd change our plans and to go with a different build number or at a different day. Or sometimes we won't even flight at all due to a blocking bug. And so what was happening was that those teasers were creating a lot of problems in the community because people were getting upset that we would tease something, but then nothing would get released. And so as a result, we stopped doing those things because up until the very last moment, we could decide to not flight if we find a big bug. And so we need to have that flexibility, but at the same time, we don't want to let the community down by telling them one thing and then having to backtrack all the time. And we kept backtracking. And so that's why we don't pre-announce when bills are coming, because even though our pattern of Wednesdays is fairly consistent, it's not a given. We could flight on a Thursday. We could flight, not at all. Like there's just things can happen and change so quickly, especially when we're trying to make sure we are still protecting the dev channel. Again, we don't want bad bugs going out in the dev channel, but that's not to say that the bad bugs may not accidentally get out and, make things a bit rough for a little bit. But we do a lot of work to prevent that, but that's why we don't pre-announce that stuff. And so I get a lot of questions on Twitter, like, why can't you clearly tell us if a build is coming or not? Well, it's because I can't really. Up until the last moment where we decide to go and sign off, I can't really confidently say that. And I would be doing the community a disservice by setting them up and then having to backtrack. So that's a bit of a tidbit on why we don't pre-announce the builds anymore. And I know that's frustrating for the community. I know people don't like that I can't give a straight answer. I know that they get frustrated when I repeat, hey, Brandon, you're repeating yourself. Like, can't you just give us a straight answer? Like, no, I can't. And I would be doing you a disservice if I tried to lead you down a hole or a path that set your expectations incorrectly. And so right now we want to set the expectation that a build may or may not flight at any given moment. So
and it makes sense. Once you're ready to release it, then you announce it because you're releasing it. You don't need to. There's not a 24-hour delay or something, because that would be, you would just do it there and then anyway. So it's I understand what you're saying.
I don't think people realize. Like I get it. It's good feedback, but I don't think people realize. I just don't want to set people's expectations down the wrong way, right? I don't want them to get disappointed, and so I'm very careful about making sure that I don't do that with regards to our builds. And so that's why I'm really, really cognizant of answering that question with, you'll know when we flight. So I mean, I apologize to the community that that's not the answers that they want, but at the same time, I'm doing my best to protect their expectations. Because when somebody gets disappointed that we're not flighting a build, I get disappointed too. I feel the same. I feel the same way.
And then once Windows Insiders are testing it and they find an issue, what do you need to do then to make sure that you guys get the feedback?
Well, Feedback Hub is the best place to send us the feedback that you're having on an issue. And in Feedback Hub, there is a recorder button to kind of reproduce your issue. If you run that while you're sending feedback, that collects logs, and that helps us identify the issues, whether it's performance or something's not working right or an app won't launch. Giving us that feedback through Feedback Hub, that is the best thing for us. And then those logs are attached to the feedback item, and you submit that to us through Feedback Hub. And then it gets funneled to the engineering teams, who can then do the research to, on the issue. And a lot of times they'll find that it's bucketed to an issue that we are either aware of, or it's a new issue. And we have a lot of engineering folks who are reading and what we call triaging feedback as it comes through, and so that's super, super important.
So all that, so once you get the feedback, it goes in, and then what do you guys then do with all that? You must have massive amount of data.
We do. It is a lot, and we're using a variety of different systems to kind of manage it all. That's one piece that I'm less involved in because I'm more of the front-facing communications side, and so I'm less involved on the feedback triaging side. But I do I listen to the community on Twitter. I can see things in Feedback Hub. Our most engaged users on Twitter are very vocal about a lot of the high-hitting issues. So if they're yelling at me, you know that I'm internally going, "Hey guys, I'm hearing a lot of this about this issue. What's the status?" And I'll do a lot of that. But I'm less involved on the feedback side in terms of the triaging and directing and all that stuff.
But I guess that goes back to the individual teams that own those feature areas, and then that's useful for the developers then to take that feedback on board.
Yep. It all falls on them to do that, and then they do their research and their investigations based off of the logs. We have talk back in Feedback Hub where we can actually say, "Hey, your issue's been addressed." I mean, there's this mentality, right, that people think that the Feedback Hub is a black hole because they're not getting feedback recognized, or they're not getting direct comments on some of their feedback. But that's not necessarily the case. But yeah, it's an ongoing thing. And
I recently had one of those pop-ups saying that your feedback has been commented on, and it actually was about the Surface dialogue feedback, and it's been fixed now in the new build, and it came up on there first to say it's going to be fixed in the next build, and yeah, it was in the it was there, it's fixed. So I actually that completed the circle of that feedback, which was pretty cool.
We're trying to get better at that. Engineering teams are trying to get better at that. You did point out there's a lot of volume, but we're working really hard to make sure that people are feeling like they're listening, being listened to. And it's one of those things that I'm trying, I'm really focused on, where if I'm working with feature teams on documenting changes in our blog posts, I'm really trying to push hard on making sure that we're documenting things that are based off of direct feedback from insiders, and making sure we say, "Hey, based off of your feedback, we fixed A, we fixed B, et cetera, et cetera." So that's really, really important. And so I could try to reinforce the feedback loop in our messaging as well.
We've just gone through the launch of Windows 11. As part of the Windows Insider program, how are you finding then the reaction to that, just from sort of your point of view?
The enthusiasm and excitement for Windows 11 with the Windows Insider program has been incredible, incredible. I was around the time when we first started doing the early Windows 10 builds, right? I was right here at the very beginning working with Gabe, and the excitement that I'm seeing with Windows 11 is much higher than it was even back in 2014, and it just makes me so happy. And I love the enthusiasm I'm seeing from the community on okay, well, now that Windows 11's out, they were excited about us getting to the point of having Windows 11 out, and now they want to see what's next. Where are we going to take this new generation of Windows? And that's even more exciting. And I can't we're seeing a lot of enthusiasm for that in the community and with the Windows Insider program, and so that just brings a smile to my face every time I come to work or log into work, since I'm working remotely. And so it's been tremendous. It's one of my favorite things. I just love it. And so yeah, it's kind of it's been really exciting to see. We really wanted to try to surprise some insiders, with Windows 11 this summer, and seeing some of that surprises and people's reactions. It was just I loved it. So
it must have been really difficult to you've got all this inside information, and you're so excited about something like Windows 11 in general, and not a lot of information's kind of leaked out or anything like that. It must be really difficult to keep hold of that, and especially if you're getting insiders perhaps saying, "Come on, Microsoft, we want something new." what you're doing next, and you bite your tongue and keep all that in.
Yeah, I mean, it is a challenge to bite my tongue, but the reward of witnessing the reaction to the community on stuff that far outweighs, the bummer of not being able to reveal stuff. Like I get really excited about planning when we're going to talk about something, and then getting to that point and then seeing the reaction. Like I love that. And it's just really great to see the community react to these things. I think today, like as we're recording on today, like we just released the new media player app for Windows 11 to the dev channel, and seeing people's reactions and excitement for getting the app and playing around with it. It's super early, the blog post, like Dave did his blog post about the app and all that, framing it up that it's the early stages, but like that excitement, I just love that. I love seeing that with the community.
Yeah, well, we've got a personal affection for those media apps, because we wrote our Windows 10 book about all the media apps and things like that. So it's good to see the old Xbox Music app renamed Groove, and got a new lease of life. So I was quite excited to see that tonight.
Yeah, it's really cool, and I just love the reaction to the community. Like, what do they like? What they don't like? Their excitement to try something new, right? And so that outweighs, the bummer of not being able to reveal everything all at once, right?
It feels like this time with Windows 11 that there's a lot more front-end things and things that consumers and insiders can actually test to really get into, whereas Windows 10, since the initial launch and perhaps the first couple of updates, everything's been a lot of under the hoods type stuff and plumbing type things, which are great, but what we like is shiny new things. So it's actually, it feels like there's a lot more to do this time, a lot more testing and a lot more new features.
Yeah, it's, we want the user experience. Like, we're looking at user experiences. What are the experiences our customers can have, and how can we improve those experiences? And, how can we make it easier for people to use their PCs super quick? Like, for me, like the centering of the icons on, the taskbar in Windows 11, I love that, because I feel like everything that I want, like all of my pins, all of my open apps, like everything's like right there in the front and center. Like everything is front and center. And that was like a key theme in Windows 11. And it's, to me, that's made the using of my PC, I feel I'm more efficient. And so like we're looking at these user experiences collectively, and like, how can we make them better, or for our customer, make things easier, especially when a lot more people are spending a lot of time on their PCs at home, working remote, during the times of today, right? And so it's just it's exciting to be able to see the desire for us to really go in and, hey, is this experience really working for our customers? Do we need to change it? And having feature teams to be very open and to that kind of research, as well as just willing to take that path of changing stuff. So
yeah, and it's great that the insiders can have an influence on the future features as well. At least feel like, through the feedback hub and talking to you guys, that we can actually give you some feedback back, and then when you see that enacted in future builds, it is a really nice experience. Oh yeah, I mean, again, that's just what's so awesome about our community.
Like, I was actually just having a conversation the other day with my dad about some feedback that our insiders gave us. I can't remember which, because it was a long conversation, but like I was reinforcing how like some of the feedback that we got early on shaped what we released to the general public in October. And that was, really like talking that out to like my dad. I was proud. I was proud of that. I'm proud of our community. So yeah, it's been a really interesting launch, and a relatively short time period as well for us as insiders, because we've only seen sort of very towards the end of it, which is not,
perhaps Windows 8 and Windows 10 seem to have a longer period of initial sort of beta and dev channel, fast ring channels. This seems relatively compressed, that we've gone from the first bits to actually, going out to the public.
Yeah, I mean, it was amazing what we were able to accomplish as a team for the product and getting this out, especially during a pandemic. I'm just so proud of our team for being able to to deliver Windows 11 the way that we did. But like, as Panos has mentioned, this is a new generation of Windows, and so we're just getting started. And I think that that's what's exciting. Like, I'm now excited about what we're going to continue to deliver for insiders as well as for all our customers. So
yeah, and I suppose some of the good things that are coming up as well, that you can see that there's interesting stuff coming.
Oh yeah, and it's just all around exciting to keep the builds out, pumping out to insiders with new stuff and having them try things, and whether it's bug fixes or new improvements or new features. Like, it's great. So
I was going to ask you one other question, but I think you've already answered this. I was going to ask you what your favorite feature of Windows 11, but would you say that it is the new censored start menu?
Yeah, my favorite feature on Windows 11 in general is I don't have I use a lot of the features, but I really like the visual changes. The centering, the taskbar, start is simplified. Like, I feel like Windows to me is the canvas for me to get stuff done, to exert creativity to do things. And as a canvas, I feel like Windows 11 has brought out all of the things that I want up front and gives me quick access to those things that I want real fast. And so, like, I'm loving all of those visual changes. I mean, I have a big monitor, and when I plug my laptop into the monitor, I will say that the snap layouts that we have, the new snap layouts, when you mouse over, the maximize buttons, minimize buttons, and for the apps. Like, I love being able to quickly organize my windows that I'm across the board when I'm needing to see multiple things at once. So I'm being more productive, but really just as a canvas of me getting stuff done, I'm just boom, 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 right? Like, with Windows 10, I had to do a lot of work. Like, when I would get up in the morning and start working, I would have to set things up a little bit more. Whereas, with Windows 11, I log right in. I'm just boom. I'm going straight to town on work, and I'm communicating with people and got my notifications. Like, everything is it's just up the centeredness and the upfrontness of it all. And so that has what's been kind of a big change for me.
What's the one thing that people should do if they're not Windows insiders now? What should they do to get started on this process?
Oh, well, I mean, if you want to be a Windows insider, you can, there in the settings app under Windows Update, you can go and register and join your PC to the Windows Insider program to take builds. Now, we have different channels. We have 3 different channels. We have Dev, Beta, and Release Preview. And, if you're, you have less desire to try out some really super, crazy, super early builds, you can get on Beta or Release Preview and, help test some of the servicing updates for Windows 11 before they go out to all of our retail customers. Or you can take the dive and get into Dev Channel and start seeing new features and functionality long before they go out to the general public. And then, of course, give feedback. Tell us what you think. What do you like? What you don't like? Feedback Hub, throw all your feedback in there. And so that's kind of the best way to get started. It's really just about what you're more comfortable with. If you're not comfortable with a situation where running version of an OS that might have some bugs, that's totally okay, but that doesn't mean you can't be an insider. Your feedback on the Beta and Release Preview channels, for example, on Windows 11 is just as important to us. So yeah, that would be the quickest way to get started.
And then if anybody wants to sort of follow the Insider team on social media, what's the best places to go?
Yeah, just the @Windows Insider handle on Twitter is the best place to follow us and engage with us. Both myself, Jason, Eddie, we're all monitoring our Twitter account. Jennifer Gentleman also is an important member of our working group, and she's out listening to feedback as well because she helps a lot on the feedback front. In terms of issues, I work very, very closely with her on some of the known issues and things and fixes in our blog posts for the flights that go live. And so that would be the best place to follow us, and then say hi, reach out to us, tell us what you like, what you don't like. We like hearing that on social media. I know that we also have an Instagram account as well. So if you're an Instagram user, you could ping us there too. I'm less plugged in on the Instagram stuff. Admittedly, I'm probably need to. So I'm not seeing a whole lot there, but maybe I need to be there. So
you need to find a Star Trek background which works in portrait.
I know. I would need to do that, and that would be difficult. It will be difficult. It's
It's been absolutely brilliant getting. I know Garry and I have been really looking forward to doing this for some time, so I really appreciate you joining us today.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here to have chatted with you guys, and let's do it again, and maybe next time we can plan it around something where we have some more exciting things to talk about. But yeah, I love the community. I love the excitement people have. Love your guys' enthusiasm, excitement. I'm glad that your Surface Dial isn't working again. I need to go find mine. I don't know where my Surface Dial is even. So, yeah. Glad to.
It's great.
Join.
It's great for editing videos. That's what I use it for.
Yeah, I don't really. Yeah, I could see that. I don't do a whole lot of video editing, so I was using it to adjust my volume.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Well, it was brilliant. I really do appreciate it. So we'll make sure I'll include the links in the show notes for to join the Insider program and the website that's got all the links and the blogs as well, which have all the build announcements, everything else. I really do appreciate it. So we'll hope to speak to you again in the future.
Yeah. I look forward to it.
Well, Garry, that was really good. I really enjoyed talking to Brandon.
Yep. I said it was going to be an exciting night, and it certainly was. That was really good fun. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. I really do appreciate him taking his time out from his busy day to talk to us, and we'll try and get him back on in the future. So, yeah, this was a pretty special show. So we should be back same time, same place next week. You can. Oh, what's your Twitter, Garry?
I'm at Garry with 2 R's WMA on Twitter. I also find me on Fascinating Tech as well. We've got the Christmas
and your EV channel.
And my EV channel is the iPace owner channel, although it might be the EV owner channel soon, but we'll see how that goes.
You're thinking of a rebrand. And I'm at iSticks on Twitter, so we'll be back same time, same place next week. So we'll see you then.
Take care.